Hello there, this is Victor Aponte from MOG Improvement Services. We're going to share with you today 5 important tips to consider before you do your kitchen remodeling. Stick around in order to see the count from 5 to 1. Tip number 5. You need to remember, planification is everything. Keep an eye on the kitchen design to be more efficient. Are you going to have an island? Are you going to have just an L-shape open and lower cabinets? Are you going to have a peninsula? It's all the things that you need to consider before you do the renovation project. Take advantage of the full space and capacity of the kitchen to lay out the new cabinets to be really efficient. Have you heard about the working kitchen triangle? What it is when you lay out the refrigerator, the stove, and the sink, they should be within no less than 4 feet in between them with the triangle shape, or no more than 9 feet in order to have the kitchen flow better. Tip number 4. The tip number 4 is related where you're going to have all the water lines, the drain, all the electrical supplies in order to comply with the code and be efficient on the design that you're going to have on the kitchen. Check it out. The outlets on the backsplash space, it shouldn't be less than 2 feet on the corners, and between outlets no more than 4 feet per current code. Keep in mind that when you're going to design your kitchen, remember you need to stay within 4 feet in all the distance of the kitchen, and you're going to have no more than 2 feet from the edges or from the stove, starting on the next outlet within 4 feet apart. The kitchen island. You need to have at least one on the island in order to comply with the code. But remember, if you have an island like this one that is longer than 5 feet, you need to have one outlet on each end in order to comply. You're going to have the sink of the kitchen is really key. It's 2 basic options that most of the people follow through. The one is below the window and one is on the kitchen island. You need to decide what is better. Keep in mind though that you're going to have the kitchen wall triangle and you need to design following that. The specific location for the outlet, the electrical on the island, and the rest of the kitchen along with the plumbing fixtures is so important to have a really good kitchen area that is going to be workable and it's going to be functional. Tip number 3. The tip number 3 is the one that is going to define the character of the kitchen. It's going to be the colors on the cabinets, the colors on the countertops, the selection on the floor. Being a wet area, most of the people trying to use something waterproofing like tile or something else. That doesn't mean that you must do it that way, but keep in mind that it's going to be a high traffic area that is going to be, or it's going to need a heavy duty type of material on it. Check it out. Tip number 2. The tip number 2 is going to be the selection for the backsplash and the countertops. Keep in mind that granite is one of the most popular materials that people use because it's heavy duty, it's really resistant, and it's really good against the water stain. That doesn't mean that you can use something different like marble or quartz or something else. Keep that in mind and be thinking about the design, the electrical and plumbing locations, and the selection of the colors, the flooring that you're going to use, and the countertops and the backsplash, because this kitchen is coming along really well. The countertop selection is so important because it's going to define the character of the kitchen in relation to the dress of the kitchen. That includes the backsplash. You can use in the backsplash any kind of tile. We have done some woodwork, or you can just have like a small 5 inches backsplash, which is really good because it's going to be practical. We highly recommend the tile backsplash in order to be able to easy clean. It's heavy duty and it looks amazing. The selection of the countertops, the backsplash, and the colors on the kitchen is going to define your space. Keep in mind that at the end, everything needs to come along together and you're going to have a really beautiful result. Tip number 1. And we finally get to the number 1. The number 1 is the X factor. What is going to make different your kitchen than anybody else? You can have a bunch of ideas out there that you can apply. Check this out. The pot filler. How convenient is to have above the stove a pot filler to fill the pans with water. You don't need to carry out all over the place. That's pretty cool. A wine cooler. This is one of my favorite ones because you can brag with your friends and all that you have really chilly wine all the time, and it's a really nice feature to include on the kitchen. Under cabinet lighting is one of the most beautiful ones. As you see, LED lights underneath the cabinets and make it so bright, so pretty at night, looks amazing. And it's actually really functional. If you're cutting around and you can have really good light on it, that's a pretty cool feature to add to your kitchen. LED lights. As you see in this kitchen, it looks like it's floating. We love to put actually the LED lights on it because it's a really nice touch that nobody else is going to have. Pendant lights above the island. They're really functional, that make the island stands out and look really pretty. Pendant lights is one of the most beautiful things that you can add to the kitchen. You can add just one, you can add just 2 or 3, but you need to add it for sure in order to have this area really well illuminated. Okay, that's a count for 5 to 1. I hope that you enjoyed this journey with me. Leave any comments below. Please subscribe to the channel in order to be updated and all the videos and information that we're going to do for any kind of residential construction project. Thank you for watching. Tip number 5. Tip number 4. Tip number 3. Tip number 2. Tip number 1.